Your personal brand should grow at the level of which you as a person you continue growing. Because this is something I've really realized, even doing a rebrand, is that as a person, you might undergo a journey of growing emotionally, financially, physically, becoming more fit. Let's go to spiritually, becoming more grounded, when it comes to even your spiritual practices. And so I've realized that a personal brand is not fixed. And so a personal brand keeps on evolving as you grow as a person because you're making sure that you're sharing, let's say, it's like your insights, what you learn, your achievements, your experiences, the process, show the process. Show people what it takes for you to be you. Show people what it takes for you to show up the way you show up, early mornings, late evenings, the deep study, the research you do, all those grounding work. Most of the times we are like, there's how we want results just fully there. We just want results to come up. But I've realized even building a personal brand, it takes time. It takes time and patience. Because when it comes to building a personal brand, one of the things that we really say is like, number one, know yourself. So it's you knowing who you are, your values, what you stand for. And so for me, I had already started showing up online, but I had not gone into a space of asking myself, who am I? What do I stand for? What are my values? What is the topic that I've really niched down? I did not know this. So I just started my brand, just starting creating videos. I'm a funny character and so I'm a funny person. So I was creating comics and things, just funny, creative things because I'm very creative. And so I found myself in this season of craving growth, craving talking things that can be able to grow the person who listens to me on the other end, craving a better bank balance, not only a better balance, but craving financial discipline, craving wealth, richness, craving like a mindset that is abundant and not only always focusing on lack and the things you do not have. And so, for you to do all these things, it takes you to cultivate. There is no seed that grows with a day. And that's cliche. I know we have heard it so many times. But the moment it comes to the real building, you will really understand what it means when people say that it takes time for things to grow. And so I I came to a point where I was like, craving my brand to evolve as a person, who I am, everything. And so I remember as a young girl, I used to wish I was, as a news anchor. Sometimes I'll see myself as a speaker globally, talking about real life issues, things that really affect people, and so creating change and impact. And so I got to a place where the bank was okay, things were going on amazing. But then I craved something else. I was craving fulfillment. I started seeing, yes, there are things that I now have access to from building as a name and being known with a few people in Kenya and across. And so I craved even global presence. I craved to be listened by people from different countries. But I am not talking just talking, because out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. And so when I learned that, because the first book I read was As a Man Thinketh. As a Man Thinketh was a very interesting book because it's not such a big book, but when I read it, it's like, have you ever plugged in a switch and a socket, una plug hivi ndani, unaona stima imewaka. So I started seeing, literally, like, I started seeing this version of myself that is confident, healing, a woman that is confident in her skin and who she knows she is, you know? And I craved so much of real joy because I used to find myself just in very interesting spaces. It's kind of, yeah, you're laughing and everything, but There's no inner depth of happiness or a sense of joy within. And so I started like with gratitude. I started receiving new information, seeking new information, reading books, listening to podcasts like so oftenly. Like I will spend my days just being soaked in by different perspectives from different people and to just see, I think I've just been in a space where I've not been even exposed to some information because even along the way, I was like, I really want to build my relationship with God. I really want to know Jesus Christ for myself. And so, going on into this journey of even spirituality and like craving some peace, you know, I remember I purchased the Bible and I was like, I really want to read it for myself. I've received so much spiritual guidance from the outside, but it's so good for you to ask yourself, when will you sit alone with yourself and connect to the power and the creator? And so for me, when I asked myself that question, I was like, I need to take some time and be grounded and know who I am. And so when we talk about personal branding, knowing yourself, it's in such depth. And know when you know such depth of yourself, you become um you become more powerful because you've now realized your power. You're realizing your power. You're realizing that God did not just create you to be going through cycles of lack, depending on other people. God wants you to depend on Him. Fully place His trust. Fully place your trust in Him, believing that things are working out for your good, both good and bad. Because the moment you build your relationship, when it comes to you building your spirituality, when it comes to you building your spirituality, that healthiness of that ground starts to pour anointing oil and cleansing oil in all the other parts of your life. May it be your business, how you move, your family, your relationships. And so you even start showing up in your relationships in a more attentive manner. Because like, you're now with your friendships, but you're like, you wanna learn them, you wanna hear their perspectives, you wanna hear them out. You just don't want to be there, disconnected. And then when people leave, or maybe when people die, that's when you're like, I wish I just connected with them. Because, like, for me, this year has been so tough for me. And I've lost like a cousin, and then I had lost like my grandmother earlier on. And these two relationships have really shown me something. And by the time I was actually going to the morgue, because I was present when my cousin now passed on, we were told, to go on and write our names and everything and give like my ID. And so I felt something so deep in me, and I was like, we've got to really be in a space where we are loving people, appreciating the people we have around us, our family, our parents, our extended families, our relatives. I'm telling you, we have got to just appreciate the fact that they are alive. And you realizing that having life, having breath in your lungs, it's a blessing. I started to count my blessings more. I started to have more of a gratitude kind of attitude more than complaining every time. Because I realized I was complaining so much. I realized after being in this phase of reflectiveness, I'm like, you're complaining so much, girl. Whatever you have, even right now, you didn't even have an ounce of it growing up. The things you have access to currently, the relationships you have currently access to, these were things you didn't have. The love and the care I have around me from the people who have raised me and everything, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And no matter how people are, because people have their own flaws, even the people who we have around us, sometimes it's good for us to look beyond their flaws, because we want us people to look above our, we don't want people to be every time looking at you and be telling you, wait, you're not consistent. As in, you don't want people to be like looking at the things that you really fail, but things that you probably are building. And when it comes, maybe probably it might be positive criticism, but what I'm saying is, it's good for us to really build the relationships that make us grow, relationships that are propelling us forward. And that helps you now build this personal brand that is having a good foundation, not building a personal brand from other foundations. And so I realized this. Then I was like, all this information is what I was receiving when I was going through my personal branding coach. Because I've gone through some coaching when it comes to personal branding by my coach called Hannah. And and like I just started reflecting on what she was telling me when we were on that particular consultation and that personal branding coaching. And it dawned on me that it's the depth of who you are that you need to actually understand and put it out there. It's you knowing your uniqueness, understanding who you are as a person, what you represent. I had to niche down. I had to niche down and understand that, I really actually want to help people build their brands better, build their brands from an aware place, build their brands knowing that the social platforms are not your foundation. The social platforms are a place for you to now showcase your beauty, authenticity, creativity. It's a place for you to showcase it. And these are not the things that we should be praising. It's not the social platforms. So I realized this, and so I'm like, the more you grow as a personal brand, the more your brand will grow. The more you grow as a person, the more your personal brand will grow. The more you adapt to the things that are coming. Currently, as a personal brand, ask yourself, how am I growing? How am I taking care of my mental health? How am I taking care of my emotional well being? Am I empathetic? No matter how much we talk about AI cannot be able to replace you as a person. You as a person, you're unique. You as a person, you're creative. You as a person, there is what you have in you that you're supposed to showcase to the world. And actually not only showcase, even earn from it. Because God does not want us to be broke. Mm-mm. And poverty is something that even me, I'm fighting, even like where I am in my community, where I stand, you know? And it's understanding that God has created us with a brain that is able to, adapt. So we are able even to move from one way of thinking to another, understanding that we are not our thoughts. And so when you have like these thoughts and then you're there beating yourself up, you've got to understand that you're not your thoughts. You've got to replace the thinker and you who is observing. You know, observe the thoughts. Stop clinging to your thoughts. Stop taking a thought, you're thinking about it, you're overthinking. No, you've got to now teach yourself to breathe in, relax, be calm, gentle, be here, be present. Do what you're supposed to do at the moment. Do your best now, here. Have hope, have joy. As a personal brand, you've got to grow. And so, if you're there, you're wondering, how do you grow your brand? How do you understand where you stand? How do you know how to package what you have in you to the world? This is something I take people through. I do personal branding, coaching, and marketing consultancy, and now using AI when it comes to marketing. So do not be there and then you're wondering, now, how do I do with my personal brand? No, no, no. Now, don't worry anymore, because I'm here. We can be able to not only connect, but for you to understand that a personal brand needs to be built on depth, not on these shallow, shallow things. Yeah. And so those are the things that I've really learned so far, building my personal brand, and I'm still learning a lot. And I believe that I'm a student of life. So each and every day, I learn something new. And I'm learning a lot of things too when it comes to me as a person. If there are areas of myself that I feel insecure about, I'm learning to be more grounded, more confident, and more courageous. And so this is just Tea Talks. And so find your focus. When it comes to find your focus, let's say it's creativity, leadership, innovation. Like for me, I adore tech. What do you adore? What do you love doing? What do you love learning about? And so learn how you learn. Show up online. Show up online. Show up on your LinkedIn platforms, all platforms. Show up authentically and consistently, not perfect. Start with what you have, okay? And then keep growing, keep learning. The moment you keep on learning, you keep on growing, it's automatic. You know, when you start building your communication skills, when you start building your soft skills as a person, even your personal brand starts to grow. See you on the next video.